Hi, and welcome to UA Overtime. I'm your host, Warren Williams, filling in for Jermaine Dennis, and I'm here with my panelists. To my left, Ashley Whitfield, Joe Marshall, and Connor Delaney. The first topic we're going to get into today, I'm sure everyone saw the dramatic finish to Game 6 of the World Series last night, the Cardinals and the Rangers. I mean, this has just been a series filled with clutch home runs and timely base hits and a lot of mess-ups, a lot of key mess-ups as well. Who do you guys have in Game 7? Joe?
For Game 7, last week, I came out and said that this series is being good for baseball, and without the Yankees and the Red Sox and Phillies, that finally baseball is something to be proud of. I was wrong. It is not good. This has been great.
Yeah,
last night was the first time in a while that I was on the edge of my seat for a game that, like when it started, I really didn't know if I was going to care about. And with comebacks here, comebacks there, you thought the game was over. David Freese coming out of nowhere. This guy, everyone's talking about him maybe for the MVP.
Right.
Nelson Cruz last series. These guys that during the regular season you really didn't hear much about are coming through, and they're the clutch guys. You're not really hearing so much about Josh Hamilton. They are having good games, but now you're hearing of people that in the regular season weren't that big of a deal. I love that. Love that.
So going into Game 7, who do you have?
I said the Rangers last week. I'm going to stick with my pick. St. Louis is throwing Carpenter. He's their ace, but he's on short rest. Last time they did this in the Philly series, it didn't turn out too well for them. I'm going to stick with the Rangers. I am a little nervous, though, that the game is in St. Louis. They now have the momentum. You know, they were really looked down upon after the whole La Russa call. I'm going to stick with the Rangers because I'm not going to jump off the bandwagon now, but I'd be a little nervous if I'm a Ranger fan.
All right, so Joe has the Rangers. Ashley, who do you have?
Last week I had the Rangers also, but this week I'm going to have to go with the Cardinals. After last night's game, like, they really just have a lot of heart, and you could tell that they forced a Game 7, which was, you know, miraculous. Last night's game was ridiculous, crazy. You know, with Carpenter going in, I'm going to have to disagree with you. I'm going to think he's going to do his thing. He's going to go in there, and he's going to get the job done.
All right, so we have one for the Rangers and one for the Cardinals. And Connor, what do you think?
Ashley, you're in good company. I'm also taking the Cardinals. Joe, I'm sorry, but I couldn't agree with you more. The series has been great. That was a great game last night. I just think Chris Carpenter's going to come out like he did in Game 5 against the Phillies. Against Roy Halladay, he came out, pitched a great game. You have David Freese. I mean, clutch.
I think it's awesome, like Joe was saying, how you have these guys that step up every year. So it's like David Freese and Cody Ross. These like fringe players who during the season, you know, they might put up marginal numbers, and they just shine in the playoffs. And I think it's so interesting how those little players are the ones that actually step up when it comes to prime time.
I'm interested to see how Texas is going to respond after blowing that game last night. You know, they had so many opportunities. They were up 3 runs with 5 outs left and get up 3 runs. So I'm curious to see how they respond.
Who do you guys think are like the key factors to the team winning, the next team winning, Joe?
As in Game 7?
Yeah, Game 7.
It's got to be focused on the pitching, and it's one of those things that, you know, Carpenter really is their ace, and they couldn't be happier with having him on the mound. But like I said, with the short rest thing, it's something to look at. And Texas came out and said, you know, they think they're deciding on their pitcher, but they don't want to show their cards too early. It's one of those things where now it's Game 7, all hands are on deck. If they put their starting pitcher in there and he lets up 1 run, there's no Game 8. There's no next series. It's over. You can put in whoever you want. Every person is available. And I think that's going to be great for tonight. Everyone's going to be, you know, Friday night game. That's going to be awesome. The crowd should be really rocking. I heard some guys today say on the radio that St. Louis, the crowd was going the craziest they've seen it in a while. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you, Joe, and thank you for the panelists. You know, I picked the Cardinals going into Game 7, and I believe that the momentum will carry them ultimately to a World Series win. We're going to take a break. Welcome back to our show. We're going to start off with our second quarter debate, which is about the recent NCAA rule changes. If you haven't heard, recently this week, the NCAA board passed a ruling that increased scholarships, the amount that schools could give out in scholarships by $2,000. You know, this is obviously a way to combat the recent controversies that were going on in schools like Ohio State and Miami, where players were profiting off their namesake. And, you know, what do you think about this rule change? You know, this hasn't been done in, 40 years? Like, this is a big move for the NCAA. What do you think, Connor?
Personally, I like it because to go along with the money, they also have to keep a higher GPA or maintain it's more academically challenged. And now all these players are going to go pro. So you got to think, I mean, with them not all going pro, it brings it to the true mission of the actual school, what they're there for. They're student athletes, student first. So it just sounds better. The only negative, like a team like UConn, right now, the requirements for the grades, they would not meet what they have to for the tournament.
I saw that.
So
that's actually an interesting thing, how UConn would not be eligible for the tournament because they don't graduate enough players. That's crazy if you think about it. Ashley, what do you think about the recent rule changes?
I think it's a really great rule. I believe that this can really help students do well in the classroom, and it's going to help motivate other students to do better in the classroom. Also, I think that there's not a lot of room for students to have jobs and students to, even the energy, they won't even have the energy to have a job. So this will help them out. That $2,000 is a good step in the right direction.
I agree. Like Ashley said, you know, when you play college football, that's a full-time job. Like, you don't have the time to go out there and have a secondary job. So I think this increase in the stipend actually is very important, and it's a very good move towards what should be happening, because you got to remember, these schools are making billions of dollars off these kids. But Joe, what do you think?
Just like Connor said, when they come out, they're student athletes first. The most important part of them going to college is that they get an education. Not everyone's going pro. Not everybody is in the Reggie Bush situation. He's in the minority. They're, like you said, they're making millions of dollars. When Tim Tebow was a senior at Florida, he was maybe one of the most famous people in the entire country.
That's true.
Not even with just sports. Everybody knows who he is. And he's not making a dollar. In the Fast Five documentary, Chris Webber says that he was accused of taking $200,000. They said they were eating hot dogs and ramen noodles for dinner. These kids, a lot of them come from not too wealthy families. They don't have the money. $2,000 doesn't seem like a lot, but it's money in their pocket for them to go to the movies with their friends in their free time, maybe put gas in their car. So I think it's a step in the right direction, and it's something good for the NCAA that you hear a lot of negative about, and this is finally something that they're taking a step in the right direction.
Right, I agree with you wholeheartedly, Joe. What do you guys think this does for competitive balances? Because obviously, bigger schools are going to be able to offer more scholarships and be able to give out this stipend more readily than smaller schools, maybe. So, like, do you guys think how does this change the landscape of college football? What do you think, Connor?
Well, it said it's only for BCS teams.
Okay.
So I think it'll still be pretty competitive, but it just, like you said, certain schools are going to have more money to give out than others. Hopefully it doesn't change competitively too much. You still have your top teams and stuff like that. So.
Right, Joe, what do you think?
I agree. I don't think it's going to change it too much. If someone's going to go to LSU or Florida or Ohio State, all those schools are on the same playing field. It's very rare that you get someone who is recruited by LSU who instead chooses to go play at Maine. So I don't think it's going to change it too much. But, I mean, we'll see from here. They said that there's a possibility of the D1AA schools or the FCS changing it where they have some type of similar rule. So we'll see what happens in the future.
Well, like I said, I agree. Like, you know, this is a step in the right direction. And I think it really puts the emphasis back on the student athletes with the emphasis on grades. And we're going to wrap this up here and head to our third quarter debate, which is on a couple picks for college football. I feel like? Can I just start whenever I feel like?
Yeah, you can
Okay. Welcome back to our third quarter debate.
Why do you keep looking?
This is what's happening. Our show is so wildly popular that we need to make more.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I know. We need spice. Something that will draw in more viewers. Guys, oh my God. I was brushing my teeth yesterday, and I realized exactly what you're thinking.
What?
Toothpaste. Oh my God, that's incredible. The last five of the show.
What's going on? Chit Chat. Who's in the guy from Chit Chat? Run! It's Chit Chat fans! Let's get out of here!
Welcome back. We're going to get into our third quarter debate. There's a lot of crucial games this week in college football. The first game we're going to talk about is MSU Nebraska. Ashley, who do you have in that game?
I got Michigan State for this one, Warren. Michigan State is holding opponents to 89 yards per game and overall 223 yards in offense. So I feel that, you know, Michigan's got this game.
And it's interesting because Michigan State's D-line has been renowned this season. And,
Absolutely.
And they're going against Nebraska's O-line, which has also been great this year. So it'll actually be an interesting matchup to see how those two things go against each other. Connor, what do you think?
Like how you mentioned, it's definitely going to be a battle in the trenches.
Right.
I'm going to disagree, though, go Nebraska. I just think at home, Michigan State, I don't think they can do it on the road. They've only had one road game this year, one real road game against Ohio State. They didn't look too great. I'm going to go Nebraska.
Nebraska, Connor. Okay. Joe, who do you have?
I got to go with Michigan State. I understand they're on the road, and Nebraska's a tough place to play. Bo Pelini gets that whole stadium rocking. I'm going to go Michigan State, though. Their defense is real strong, and with Nebraska's quarterback, Taylor Martinez, he focuses too much on his legs. He doesn't trust his arm, and Michigan State's going to capitalize on that. They're going to send 8 every time, and if it's going to be on Taylor Martinez. If he could pick them apart with his arm, then more credit to him. I give Nebraska the edge, but I don't know if I have enough faith in him to give that.
Okay, really quickly, I pick Nebraska because I like the tandem of Rex Burkhead and Taylor Martinez, and I believe in they've been putting up 261 yards a game. Like I think that's going to hold over and bring them to a win. The next game we have. Another big game with conference implications, championship game implications is K-State and Oklahoma. And Joe, who do you have in that game?
I got to go with Oklahoma. 2 weeks ago, before the whole Texas Tech debacle, everybody was saying Oklahoma's the top team. They're going to the national championship. After LSU or Alabama gets knocked off, it's Oklahoma. They're definitely going. And they lose to Texas Tech, a 30-point underdog. You got to believe that Bob Stutz will have them coming back.
Right.
They got to get the win here. If
Very true.
They're not losing 2 games in a row.
Yes.
This is a team that was talked about. You know, they're definitely going to, they're 100% going to the national championship. It's a lock. And they lose, they can't lose 2 in a row.
And that's interesting because I saw something this morning that said they haven't lost 2 in a row in the Stoop since 1999. So how many years ago was that? Connor, who do you have?
Joe, I couldn't agree more. They came off a big heartbreaker loss to Texas Tech. Texas Tech, a good team. They don't get the credit they deserve, but I just think they're going to go into Kansas State, take care of business.
Get it done, right?
Yep, get it done.
I hear you, man. What about Ashley? What do you think?
I'm going to have to agree with all of you. I'm going to go Oklahoma.
Consensus.
And I just think their offense is great. Their offense is going to be led by Ryan Broyles, who, you know, he's outstanding. And I really think that they're going to win this one.
You know what? I'm gonna go against you guys because you guys, there's too much of a love fest going on over here. I'm gonna go pick K-State. You know, they've had some big wins over teams like Baylor, Texas Tech. I believe that, you know, despite the underdogs that they come into this game, 14-point underdogs, I believe they're actually gonna have a great game and pull this one out. But you know what? We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Next game, Clemson versus Georgia Tech. A big game in the ACC. Connor, who do you have?
It's a tough one. I'm going to go Clemson, though.
Clemson?
I think
Okay.
Clemson,
All right.
I think they're on a mission right now. They're, you know, Georgia Tech just lost 2 straight.
Yeah.
I don't think they're looking too good right now. I think Clemson's going to go in again, take care of
It's
work.
interesting because if you talked about this game 2 weeks ago, it would have bigger, huger implications.
Definitely.
But because Georgia Tech has been on that downturn,
Two
you know,
straight, yeah.
they kind of play the role of spoiler here.
Absolutely.
Joe, what do you think?
I don't want people to get the wrong impression when they look at it on paper that Clemson's undefeated, 5th-ranked team in the country, and Georgia Tech's not ranked. They barely fell out of the top 25. They're a good team.
Right.
It's hard to prepare for their option offense.
Right.
I'm still going to go with Clemson. I feel like this is going to be a big week for them. They're never a team that's in the news as much as they are now. And with their quarterback, Taj Boyd, being mentioned for the Heisman and being undefeated, this is going to be a big game to see how they can handle the pressure of being talked about as a top team, and not only their conference, but in the nation right now. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going to go with Clemson.
Ashley, what do you have?
I'm going to go with Clemson also. Georgia Tech, don't get me wrong, they're a solid team. They have a lot going for them. But I'm going to have to go with Clemson. They're undefeated.
Right.
They're probably going to win. Let's just be honest. They're probably going to win.
I agree. I think Clemson has this game. And if you look at the Georgia Tech defense, they've been letting them go entirely too many points. And I think Clemson is going to pull this one out and maybe get a shot at the big game. We'll see. The last game we have to pick here is Stanford and USC. Obviously, we know USC is not eligible for a bowl game this year because of the allegations with the Reggie Bush scandal. But we have an interesting matchup for quarterbacks. We have probably the most likely the future pick, number one pick of the NFL draft, Andrew Luck, going against also a very good quarterback in Matt Barkley in USC. Ashley, who do you have for that game?
I have USC.
Okay, Ashley picks USC. Connor, who do you have?
Give me a little bit of luck. Stanford.
I can't argue with that one. Joe, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Stanford as well.
Okay, and why? Why do you guys?
Like I said, a little bit of luck, man.
Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck. I think he's the best. Heisman. Just Lane Kiffin's been telling me he's the best. Poor Matt Barkley. And
what's interesting? I haven't heard a quarterback so hyped in a while. And
we
hope that he
lives up to it.
Yeah, we hope he can live up into these expectations. But you have great quarterbacks coming out and saying these awesome things. He's undoubtedly one of the best to come out. And I guess we'll just have to see. But Joe, why do you pick them?
I agree with you. Hearing everything that they're all saying about he's the best quarterback to come out since John Elway.
Right.
I'm going to go with Stanford mainly because I understand it's going to be the college game day. They're going to be there all day, tailgating, getting ready. But Stanford is not that far from USC. It's not going to be as much as a home advantage as maybe the other games. I know it's the fourth road team I'm going to pick, but I'm going to go with Stanford. They're undefeated.
Right.
USC, like you said, they're so wrapped up in how great Andrew Luck is. I hear Lane Kiffin and his dad, Monty Kiffin, the D coordinator, talking about, he's the best quarterback here, best quarterback ever. He's perfect. Perfect. Matt Barkley is probably the second best quarterback. Maybe him and Landry Jones tied for number 2 in the country.
Agreed.
Maybe give your quarterback some confidence and stop praising Andrew Luck so much.
Right.
You got to focus on how to attack him, not how he's going to be beating you.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think they're giving him way too much, especially as the opponent. I think you should be hyping your own quarterback.
Exactly.
Ashley, what do you think?
I'm gonna. I really think that the athleticism of USC, their defense, it's gonna give Stanford some problems.
Right.
And this week, I really just feel like I'm gonna have to go with USC for that.
I think what's interesting. I think that Barkley is gonna come out playing with a chip on his shoulder because of how maybe the lack of support that he might feel.
Talk about Luck and not him. I'm here too, guys.
Exactly. I wouldn't be. My pick is Stanford, but I wouldn't be surprised if USC comes out and pulls this one out. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I guess we'll have to see. We're going to cut this conversation right here. We're going to head into our fourth quarter debate. It's crunch time. We're going to do a little trick or treat in the spirit of Halloween. We'll be right back. Wait, are you serious? Oh, we do it. Welcome back. We're going to get right into our fourth quarter debate, and the segment is called Trick or Treat. Normally this would be called Buy or Sell, but like we said, in the spirit of Halloween, it's going to be Trick or Treat. So Trick would be for sell. You hear the ghosts in the background. Where's that coming from? And treat would be buy. So the first topic we're going to get into, the NBA season. As you know, they had long talks yesterday. I think they talked for like 15 hours. I mean, I think they should be able to figure it out in that time, but they haven't figured it out yet, haven't come to an agreement. They had to cancel 2 more weeks of the season. Joe, do you think they're going to have a season, 82-game season? Trick or treat?
I have to go trick with this.
Okay.
They might have a season, but in order to think that logistically that they're going to be able to have it, maybe with the scheduling, but with the player safety, I understand these are world-class athletes, but the fact that they're going to have to be able to play double headers 5-6 days a week doesn't seem realistic. I know they're supposed to be preparing for the season, but you know it's too risky for them.
Yeah.
You have to be completely. The training camps are go months.
Right.
Now you're going to bring them in cold. I understand a bunch of them are playing summer leagues, but that's only the big name guys. I feel like it'd be too risky for the players and their personal health to try and play 82 games in that short of a span.
Okay, Connor, trick or treat, 82-game season. What do you think?
Trick. Got to trick.
Trick.
You know, just they're going to get a deal done soon.
Right.
But they said they could start the season by earliest December 1st.
Right.
But even if they do, like Joe said, you can't cram so many games into one short, expanded time slot.
Right.
So players will get worn out, injuries will happen. I just don't think they can get it done.
Okay, so you say trick.
Trick.
Ashley, trick or treat, 82-game season. What do you think?
I'm going to have to say trick for this one, Warren. I say that because, you know, there's still things that the players and the owners are not seeing eye to eye.
Very
There's
true.
still things that they need to iron out. And you see the players, they're going overseas, they're doing exhibitions, they're doing different things. Like, I just don't see it being possible. I don't see a deal being made anytime soon.
Like I said, I agree with you, and like I've said before, I think it's going to be more of like a reduced season like we saw in 1999 with a shorter season, if there is a season. But moving on right to our second topic, we have a couple big games, crucial games in the NFL this week. Trick or treat, the loser of this week's Eagle-Cowboys game does not make the playoffs. Connor, what do you think?
Trick again. Gotta sell it. I think there's too much season left. It's a bigger game for the Eagles. Like, if they lose, obviously it's more, they have more room to make up, but there's just too much, excuse me, there's too much season left, too many games left, too many conference games. I think it's not that big.
Joe, what do you think?
It depends. So as of right now, I'm going to go Philly.
Okay.
That's going to be a treat, and Dallas, it'll be a trick.
Okay.
It'll be a
Wow,
treat for
interesting.
Philly
Like that.
because if they lose, they're going to be 2-5. They're not in a bad division. There's no pushover team. There's no 0-6 team. Anything could happen any week in the NFC East, and I understand Philly's real talented, but if they fall to 2-5, and the best they can end up doing is 11-5, which is a little unrealistic, I don't think that's possible. But then again, if Dallas loses, they're only going to be at 3-3. They're an up-and-down team, but they have talent on that team. It's still possible that they can maybe grab a wild card, even win the division, but it totally depends on which team. So we'll see what happens.
So Joe's handing out tricks and treats this Halloween. Ashley, what do you think?
I'm going to have to say treat.
Okay.
I'm going to have to say yes on this one because, you know, I don't really think either team has any room to lose right now, especially in their division. You know, Dallas still has 4 more games to play. I feel like maybe they have a better chance to go to the playoffs, but still, I'm going to have to say treat.
I'll say treat too as well. Like I feel like it's getting late early, and they keep saying that these teams are going to get it together, but I just believe that, you know, it's time. It's time to show and prove. You know what I mean? So moving right into the third topic, trick or treat. The winner of this Patriots-Steelers game will be the front runner for the AFC. Ashley, what do you think? Trick or treat?
Gonna have to say trick.
Okay.
Only because,
Trick.
you know, I'm a Ravens fan,
Okay.
first of all. I still think
Showing
that they
their
have...
colors.
Okay, first of all, with the Steelers, they came out. They did their thing with the Steelers.
Right.
First of all. Also, Buffalo Bills, you can't count them out. They might do something for their division.
Right.
So I don't think at this point you could even, you know, count these other teams out at this point.
Joe, what do you think?
100% treat here. Last week, honestly, Ashley, I would have agreed with you, but after the Ravens coming out and laying an egg versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't have too much confidence in that team. And I understand Pittsburgh hasn't been blowing out teams, but all that matters is the wins, and both of them are producing. No matter what team wins, I'm still going to say the Patriots right now, besides the Packers, I would say they're the best team in the league right now. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're not a pushover either. They're both in tough divisions. The Jets are a little bit down this year, but you have the Bills coming in, so we'll see what happens. But as of right now, I would say treat that the winner is the front runner for the AFC for the Super Bowl chance to appear in the Super Bowl.
Interesting, now we have all this Bills talk. A couple years ago, it was no Bills talk at all. Crazy how a couple seasons can make. Connor, what do you think?
I like all the Bills talk, but trick, selling them all. You know, I like the Ravens. Still like the Ravens. Last week, you were right. That was a terrible game, but their defense still showed up. Their defense still played great, which I think it's going to do. You still got question with the Pats defense. They beat Pittsburgh week 1. I still like the Ravens.
You know, interesting fact that I saw today, Did you know that the Patriots are 6-1 under Tom Brady against the Steelers? Yeah, and they have a great record also going into Heinz Field. So, I mean, I'll say that the Steelers. I feel like the Steelers will still have a lot of time, a lot of things to prove, and this game will not be that. I don't believe it'll make them the front runner of the AFC just yet. But we're gonna wrap it up and head into our final thoughts segment. And you know, it's been a lot of sports stories this week. We just want to get a couple of your thoughts of what's been on your mind this week. Ashley, what's your final thoughts?
Guys, you're going to be so excited to hear that the UA cross country team is hosting, for the first time in many years, hosting the America East Championships here at UA, Collins Circle, tomorrow. Be there, the 29th of October. Be there or be square.
And I think it's a great time for a great opportunity for us to come out and display our school pride. It's just something we discussed last week. So, Ashley, thanks for letting us know. Connor, what's your final thoughts for the week?
Well, I'm not going to talk sports. Halloween weekend, all you Albany kids, myself, kid, be safe this weekend. Have fun, have a good time. But we don't want any repeats, kegs, and eggs.
Definitely not.
Let's show the school we can have fun, but in a safe way, and let's have a good time.
So, Connor, what is your Halloween costume going to be?
That's a good question. I'm gonna go to the thrift store right after this, and I gotta go find something, pick something out. So.
Okay. Before I get to everyone else's costumes, let me let Joe give his final thought.
My final thought's going to be on former Rutgers football player Eric LeGrand. Last October, he was in a football accident on the field, paralyzed, and was told by doctors that he has no chance of ever walking again. Well, now, a year later, he is going to lead his team out onto the field on Saturday versus West Virginia at Rutgers. That's honestly such an inspirational story to be told he's never going to walk again. And now they're saying he stands up to 45 minutes at a time, and he hopes to one day be able to walk on his own. And that's just a really inspirational story and just a feel-good thing.
And I think it really speaks to the perseverance of Eric LeGrand to be able to still fight against, you know, the circumstances against him.
I saw a story on him on yesterday saying that he actually goes to all the Rutgers games. He's still a part of the team, and he does broadcasting work. And he does some of the radio work, and he's actually going to be part of the broadcast for ABC this Saturday for the game. So that's something to look forward to.
Truly inspiring story. But Joe, I know you're very in the spirit. What's your Halloween costume looking like?
I can't give it away. It's a group costume.
Really?
Me and my friends agreed that we wouldn't tell anyone what it was. I'll give you a hint. It involves a Disney Channel original movie that we grew up watching. So I'll let you guys know next week what it was. We'll see. Maybe bring some pictures and we'll see.
Okay. Ashley, do you have a costume?
Actually, I do, Warren. I'm going to be Cleopatra this weekend.
Oh, Cleopatra. Okay, that sounds great.
What about you, Warren?
You know what? I haven't figured out a costume today, but like Connor, I might head to the thrift store and see what they have. But we're going to wrap it up today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. UA Overtime.
Our show is so wildly popular that we need to make more.
Oh my god, yeah, I know. We need spice, something that will draw in more viewers. Guys, oh my god. I was brushing my teeth yesterday, and I realized exactly what this was doing. What? Truth me. Oh my god, that's incredible. The last five of the show.
What's going on? Chit Chat. Those are the guys from Chit Chat. Run! It's Chit Chat fans. Let's get out of here.
History.